This is my review of the Nick Drake Fruit Tree box set. This is a CD version that was released in 2007 by Island Records. Now, I found this on eBay for about $100 used, Like, this one's in pretty good condition, I would say. Like, the outer cover's a little scratched, you can see, but, everything inside, everything that matters, it's still good. You can find a new one probably for about $100 if you like the CD version. There was also a 1980s Hannibal Records release, the CD version, and that one's cheaper than this used. It's probably around $50 you can get one for, definitely cheaper. And it includes, all three of his albums. It also includes I believe an album just full of just like outtakes and like unreleased material, which is pretty cool. This one actually includes a documentary instead. So I will show you what it includes. It includes his first album from 1969, Five Leaves Left. Second album in 1970, Buyer Later. And his third and final and his most well-known and popular album, Pink Moon, in 1972. It also includes the documentary, short documentary. Anyways, that's enough of the outer cover of it. You can see the packaging is pretty nice too. Nice outer box, kind of like a vinyl set, vinyl records box set if you ever have one of those. This also includes this book right here, written about him. A much updated ruin from a much outdated style. Now, this is a little bit different from other sets I have in my collection. Like, normally these booklets, like, include more like pictures and like stuff about the band. This one, it appears it's just like almost like literally like a book, even as chapters, as you can see. It is pretty cool. I've not read it yet, so I do look forward to doing it. So this is his first ever album, released in 1969, just after he quit college, and this is it. Now, I have listened to this one. It's pretty good, definitely. Like, the thing about all of his albums is that they're all like uniquely different. Like, it's not like other artists, like all of his albums, they're all, it has almost like a different sound. I would actually say that this one probably sounds the most similar to his last one, Pink Moon. In a way, it's kind of like a little bit kind of melancholic, kind of that like, very guitar, but I would also say that this album has a lot more to it though. Like, it's not just the guitar. But anyways, it's a good album. I would not say it's his best, but, anyways, has about 5 songs. And also, this actually is his longest album ever made at about 41 minutes. Pretty much, I guess, standard time for records. And one more cool thing about this is that, like, they really made it feel like you're getting, like, the vinyl release, which I really wanted to get. Fortunately, those were just way too expensive for me. Even include these kind of paper sleeves that you would find like an actual vinyl record, and even the labels, they're all like the original, which is pretty cool. So enough. That's his first album. This is his second album. Now, I would actually say that this is probably his most unique and kind of full sounding album. Like, it actually has like a full an ensemble to it. It has a lot more instruments, a lot more experimentation. This is actually his second longest album, ringing in at about 39 minutes long. Now, this actually, for some reason, actually includes more like a slip cover, kind of like a normal record. Also includes the same paper, includes the Island record label in the middle. So this is this one. I mean, this is also a pretty decent album. I would probably say if I had to pick between the three, which is pretty hard, this is probably my least favorite album. It's like, like not that I like the experimentation and stuff like that. I just don't really find this the most kind of Nick Drake kind of sounding album. Well, anyways, enough of this one. This was released in 1970. Now, this one was released 2 years later in 1972. Now, this is the one you probably all know. Like, when you think about Nick Drake, you think of this album, Pink Moon. This is actually his shortest album, at only 28 minutes long. Yeah. And, like, this is probably the most kind of stripped down, like, album of the three. It's definitely, like, really, this album only includes, really, 2 instruments, I would say. Nick Drake and Nick Drake's guitar. That's pretty much it on this album, and it really proves that. I feel like this album really proves that that sometimes simple is better. Sometimes you don't need to be complex and have complex sounds to have a good album. And this really proves the point. And this is probably his best and well-known album. It's my personal favorite. I can listen to this back to back, on end. It really is a magnificent album. My favorite cuts from this is probably, obviously, the one you focus, Pink Moon, and probably, I also really like Parasite from this album. It really really lets you put into perspective, like, what he was feeling at the time. It's really kind of like almost chilling. Like, the whole album really is kind of like a chilling masterpiece. A lot of people compare him to the Van Gogh of, I guess, music, because, during his own lifetime, he was never really recognized for any of these great albums, he never really got recognition in his own lifetime, and, he never got to experience that. But obviously later on, like more during, like, the late 90s, kind of 2000s, there saw, like, actually a resurgence in his albums, when they became actually insanely popular, which is pretty cool. But, it's unfortunate that he never got to experience any of this firsthand. And this is the documentary. I have not watched this yet. The Days of Nick Drake. It's a DVD. Yeah, and it's probably pretty good. It's pretty short though, kind of like his albums. But anyways, that's the set. Actually, I would actually say, like, if you're looking into Nick Drake and if you really like his music, this is definitely a must buy for you. It's like all the CDs, they all sound really good. They're all, I believe these were mixed from, like, the master tapes of all the albums, so they're all gonna sound, like, really good. If you have a good CD player, a good sound system, they're gonna sound amazing. I will say the set's on a little bit on the pricey side, but I'm pretty sure, like, if you bought all this separately, it would probably be the same, and you wouldn't be getting the documentary too in his book. So, I would say it's a pretty good buy, pretty good set, pretty good albums. This album definitely really, really good. Well, anyways, that's kind of my review of this. Definitely a pretty good album. Well, that's about it. I will be posting more reviews of albums in the future and more car-related content. I'm also into cars, not just music, as you can see. And that's about it. So, thanks for watching. Goodbye.